Good afternoon, everybody. Once again, this is the UFC on Fuel TV 7 post-fight recap with Bear Thunder Heart, Barao versus McDonald. And today, well, let me put it like this: I wasn't even expecting to even watch the event today with all the craziness I've been going through as far as the errands that I had to run, various other things I have to do at home, and also outside of the home too. I wasn't even certain that I was going to watch the event, but I was actually able to watch at least a couple of the last events. The co-main event and the main event. So I missed most of the event. However, but luckily, of course, I have a Twitter account, and so in that being said, I was able to look at my Twitter and look at the various results, and that's how I was able to get them. So I'm still going to read the fights anyway because I thought it would be well deserved to get the attention that it deserves. Taking place in London, England. So all my British fans, hello, how you doing? And I hope you guys had a great time with the event. So, London, England, that's basically where it's at. And that's where it was today. So, here we go. Now, I'm going to probably be pretty fast today because, like I said, I didn't really watch most majority of the fights. However, like I said, there's two last fights that I saw. So, here we go. Phil Harris versus Ulysses Gomez. And the winner is Phil Harris via unanimous decision. Vaughan Lee versus Motonobu Tezuka, and the winner is Vaughan Lee, unanimous decision. And Tom Watson versus Stanislav Nedkov, and the winner is Tom Watson via a TKO, so excellent on that. And Andy Ogle versus Joseph Grispi, and the winner is Andy Ogle via unanimous decision. And Paul Sass versus Danny Castillo, and the winner is Danny Castillo via unanimous decision. And Terry Etim versus Renee Forte, and the winner is Renee Forte via unanimous decision. So it was just a bunch of unanimous decisions all around. So what an event that was. And another good one I heard was Che Mills versus Matthew Riddle. Well, actually good for Matthew Riddle that I heard that he was actually very dominant in this whole thing. It was because he ended up actually winning, but of course, now, I don't know if he was so dominant, why it ended up being a split decision, but in any event, it was a split decision victory by Matthew Riddle, so congratulations Matthew Riddle on that. And James Huna versus Ryan Jimmo, and the winner is James Huna via unanimous decision. Now, Gunnar Nelson versus Jorge Santiago, and the winner is still undefeated in the UFC and in MMA, Gunnar Nelson via unanimous decision. From what I was told that he, I guess fight a little bit like how Leonel Machida fights, and at the same time he also did some grounds and pounds on this guy in about the second round. So that was pretty good. And then Santiago didn't really have much of an answer, and at the end Santiago I heard got aggressive, but it was a little too late. But of course, Gunnar is taking it home, so congratulations. And in this one, I thought that was pretty. I thought it was an okay fight that I was told. And it was Jimi Manuwa versus Cyrille Diabate, and the winner is Jimi Manuwa via TKO. I guess basically from what I was told in the round number 2. He was able to continue meeting Diabate due to, I guess, the fact that he injured his leg in the first round, something like that, and he couldn't continue, so they awarded him, as far as Jimi Manuwa, a TKO victory. So, good for him. And I guess Cyrille Diabate will have to be out for a while and get his leg back in order. And since he's turning 40, he may have to ask himself whether it's time for him to retire or do something else or whatever, but let's just see what happens once he comes back, So now this one I got a chance to really see, which was a co-main event of Swanson versus Dustin Poirier. It was an excellent fight between the two of them. Basically what all turned out was those two went at it, throwing haymakers, started in the first round with leg kicks and so forth, but Swanson did most of the, of course, the outstriking with Dustin Poirier. And then about the second and third round, basically it was the same thing, except that Swanson had the better exchange of not only that, but he was able to have some takedowns. Of course, Poirier was able to did some takedowns as well. But it was Swanson though from the back who almost cemented him a couple times. Who almost had him in the omoplata, and then I'm not even mistaken. He nearly even, if he would have had his other leg on top of his back and even had his try to put his foot underneath, he would have tried. He would have attempted a gogoplata too. And he almost had him armbarred. He almost had him Kimura. I mean, this guy was all over the place with Dustin Poirier. But Dustin Poirier was not to be denied either, because he's such an excellent jiu-jitsu practitioner that he was able to have defenses too. So his defensive was awesome as far as Dustin. And I was actually surprised that he didn't really. Well, of course, Cub Swanson's defense was good too. But I was actually really surprised that Dustin really tried to advance to really submitting him. Of course, he did. He also did some hits, hit him a couple of times too with some good strikes. So that was excellent. Cub Swanson throws some nice high knees, but in the end, basically, Cub Swanson really had him controlled, had him on his back, had him pounded around and things like that. And so it was Cub Swanson who ended up walking away with a unanimous decision victory against Dustin Poirier. So. Wow, I just thought that Dustin Poirier was actually going to had a better ground game than Cub Swanson, but Cub Swanson, and even all that too. And I'm going to tell you, even in the third round, he basically gave him like a judo throw and took him down to the ground, and even had him pounding and he tried to do submission attempts. It was an excellent judo throw. Basically, over there, when someone tries to punch you, they say in martial art class, when someone tries to punch you, you grab him and you actually flip him over. It was more like that. It was just so fast-paced that he actually grabbed the whole body, or at least the head and then the upper body, and actually flipped him over and slammed him to the ground. So that was pretty good right there on his part. So Cub Swanson, excellent job tonight. He looked excellent. I mean, wow. I've never seen him look this excellent like he did tonight. So congratulations, Cub Swanson. Now, the main event was for the UFC, and this was the first time this actually happened in an interim belt. Well, was going to be on a line, not against the returning injured champion, because the injured champion is Dominic Cruz, but he is still out with an injury. He hasn't still recovered. So basically, Renan Barao, the champion, was going to defend. And this, like I said, this is the first time this happened in the history. In my view, the interim belt was going to be on a line against the number 2 contender, which technically Renan Barao is the number 1 contender. But since he's the interim champion, he was the defending champion against a number 2 contender by the name of Michael McDonald. And he's basically very young, and if he would have win this one, he would have been the youngest champion. But the point is, Renan Barao had a UFC interim Bantamweight championship on the line against Michael McDonald. And it just went to all 4 rounds, but that was just it. It did not make it past 4 rounds because, in the end, it was Renan Barao who beat him by submission with an arm triangle, and he is still the UFC interim bantamweight champion. And basically, what it all boils down to, yes, Michael McDonald started out very strong. He's very young and stealth, and very advanced for his. Way beyond his years. Yes. I mean, and I even thought, like, in about the second round, that he actually would have had, I thought he would have a new interim champion when he had Renan Barao in so much trouble. He actually hit him with short hits to the face, in the head, stagger him a little bit, but Renan Barao got his composure, got himself going, and got himself back up and healed himself pretty quickly. And then on top of that, of course, in the third round, that's when the beginning of the third round was the beginning and the end of Michael McDonald, because that's when he even admitted to his trainers that he got tired. Oops. Yeah, because he was very inexperienced when it comes to fighting Renan Barao, but also the fact that inexperience of not only fighting against Renan Barao, but his inexperience showed what happened, of course, because he never fought beyond 3 rounds before. So. And actually, they didn't even make it past 2 rounds. So he's always finished off guys in less than 2 rounds. So his endurance were starting to be in question. And so with that being said, Renan Barao figured that out, and later on slowed him down and started getting confident, and even blooded up his nose, and his breathing was starting to get even worse by the time. Renan Barao's eye got a little cut there, but it wasn't too bad. And there was even a little bit of poke that when Renan Barao had a little poke, but it was okay. Fight started, it kept on going, And of course, Renan Barao threw nice front kicks to the face, nice spin side kick to the head. Oh my goodness! I mean, this guy was all over the place. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Michael McDonald was still fighting, and even he even gave him a great takedown. But Michael McDonald, like from the first 2 rounds, even the first 3 rounds, actually kept fighting back and kept on coming out, throwing kicks from the ground. You know, definitely escaping a lot. But at the same time, though, when the 4th round happened, he basically, like I said, had him exhausted to a point where he was actually able to take him down. He was on top of him to a point where he had him he was basically trapped inside a guard. But what happened was he got out of the guard, he went to the side, but what happened is he actually even had him on his back to a point where he was going to try to choke him out, and instead he thought that he was going to escape, meaning McDonald. And instead, Renan Barao thought ahead of time and actually had him trapped in a side triangle. Had his right arm trapped to a point where, but then you see when he was trapped and he felt that he was trying to scoot his body towards the angle. But Renan Barao had an excellent idea where he had his knee on his ribs, so his right knee, where he had his left leg stretched out and actually touching the cage. Now, not only was he touching the cage, but what he was doing is he was leaning on a cage, and he was using the cage as leverage to actually, keep him not only at bay, but actually had him squeezed to a point where he had him squeezed for about over 30 seconds, I believe. Over 30 seconds, that's a pretty long time. Sure, he did not have the choke that well, but throughout time, though, he's going to get exhausted. The choke's going to be more effective. The pressure's going to be tightened up. He had him leverage all over the place, and Michael McDonald had no choice but to tap out. Excellent effort on Michael McDonald. Oh my goodness, that was one of his best challenges I've seen in a long time against Renan Barao. Wow. Michael McDonald really stood up tonight and stepped up. And I tell you one thing, I don't know, I know it didn't happen today, but at some point I could see Michael McDonald winning a championship belt somewhere down the road. Now when, I don't know, or against who or what class, I have no idea. But at some point, he's going to do it. But Renan Barao walked away with and still the interim Bantamweight champion tonight. And he's calling out Dominic Cruz. Man, I hope Dominic Cruz heals up. I don't know what is going on with him. I don't know why he can't heal himself as quick enough. And sometimes I tend to wonder, what are the limits for the champion to be out? I mean, how long does the champion need to be out for the MMA world, of especially an organization like UFC, not to strip the title away? Because, I mean, Dominic Cruz has been out for a long, long time, and yet in a lot of sports, I mean, if you are injured or whatever the case may be, and if you are injured and you can't return within a certain time frame, they will strip you from the belt. So why isn't Dominic Cruz not stripped from the belt? I mean, George St. Pierre came back after a while, and many other people who were injured came back after a while. What's taking Dominic Cruz so long, And even Renan Barao, I agree with him. He needs to hurry up and come back. And quite frankly, I don't know. I mean, Dominic Cruz is a pretty good fighter, but I think Renan Barao is such a great fighter, still undefeated with a 33 or so winning streak, that I honestly believe when him and Dominic Cruz do fight, I could see Renan Barao really walking away the undisputed Bantamweight champion, and I think he's more deserving at this point than Dominic Cruz is. I mean, man, this guy is excellent. I mean, Renan Barao. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing on the ground, on the feet. Knows how to throw leg kicks, different types of kicks, spin kicks, everything. I mean, this guy can do it all. And I think Dominic Cruz, he's a good evasive fighter and everything. Well, so does Renan Barao, but I think Renan Barao has his number. And I'm wondering, and I'm just wondering, and I'm not trying to start anything or trying to, create anything, but I'm just wondering if could Dominic Cruz be scared of Renan Barao? That's one thing we have to ask ourselves. But hey, that's another debate for another day. Listen, I've done enough speculating for one day. I'm gonna get going. There's a lot of other things I gotta get done, so I'll talk to y'all later and take care. And also check out another video of mine that I have done this week too. Then check it out too, about my new mailing address. Take care, everybody, and many blessings to you all. Healing, it is all that is.